Problem. Depending on how invested you are in your audio, chances are you're pretty spoiled by the quality of your wired desktop setup. And when you move to something portable like a Bluetooth headphone, even the headphones from the big names, these headphones specifically made for like commuting and traveling, often means a pretty sizable step down in audio quality. Often we find ourselves at the mercy of Bluetooth codecs, really bloated bass, and DSP in there to allow for active noise canceling. Well, Drop and THX have joined forces to create the Panda Bluetooth headphone. This gives audiophiles an option to have like a commuter-style headphone with an emphasis on audio quality. I've got to spend a lot of time with it, and I traveled to San Francisco to spend some time with the people at Drop who created this headphone, and we're gonna check it out. You ready? Let's go! Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're checking out the Panda Bluetooth headphone from Drop and THX. Retailing for $399 US, the Panda is a closed-back, ribbon planar headphone with Bluetooth 5.0, support for nearly every codec out there, including aptX HD and LDAC. It also contains THX AAA tech, which should sound familiar after the THX AAA 789 amp, but this is the AAA Zero, designed specifically for portable devices. The first thing you notice about the Panda headphone is that there's really nothing to notice. There's no branding, no logos, no loud colorway. It's honestly refreshing. It's important to note here too that all the footage you're seeing today is technically a pre-production unit. And I gotta say, as far as pre-production units go, this one is really polished. Packaging includes a zippered hard case, and inside's a little compartment that stores a USB-C cable for charging and a 3.5mm aux cable. For being a portable headphone, you'll notice that the case is larger than some of the others you may have seen, and that's because the Panda doesn't fold like the Sony or Bose or Bayer Dynamic. You just get 90 degrees of swivel on the ear cups. At first glance, they don't look comfortable. The headband is absent of any sort of foam padding, having just this like silicone rubber insert that feels like it's got a little air trapped behind it. There's no adjustment markings on the slide, and they have just about an inch of extension on either side. There has been some allowances here for shoulder wear, like the headband itself is scooped in the back, and the ear cups themselves are spring tensioned so that they maintain a more round shape when they're around your neck. Despite the Spartan looks, they are actually pretty comfortable for long wear at about 375 grams. The frame is mostly plastic, with stuff like the hinges being machined aluminum. Like a lot of headphones, I wear them at max adjustment, but they still create a good seal top and bottom. The ear pads are dense, plush foam covered with protein leather. Pretty deep too. Outer measurement is 97 by 77 millimeters, and inside is 62 by 43 millimeters. They have just enough clamping force to where they're not going anywhere. Less than like a new HD58X. They're much more comfortable than they look, though I do start to get a little pressure right on the top of my head at about the 4-hour mark. The big sticking point for most consumers looking at this as an option is that these don't have any sort of active noise canceling. I can tell you though, the passive isolation here is great. I wore these on the plane on the flight in, and the conversations, the baby a couple rows back, nothing. Couldn't hear a thing. I was sitting on the wing, so I was aware of like the low rumble of the engine, but I felt like I was in my own world. These get really, really loud too. More on that in a sec, but if you're the type of person that uses active noise canceling just to quiet the world around you, like just to put them on and kind of zone out on the plane and not listen to music, obviously these aren't going to work for you. But if you are listening to music, it completely drowns out everything that's going on in the background. The one thing here though to be aware of is that the passive isolation just kind of is what it is. So even though there are mics here, you're also not going to get any kind of active mode that allows you to monitor the world around you. Controls are sparse too. You basically have a few mics, the 3.5mm jack, the USB-C, and this joystick. This thing does it all. It's really intuitive too, so no gestures. All the functionality is there though. Play, pause, track skip, volume, power on, power off, call controls, everything with just this joystick. It took no time at all to learn it. I'm a huge fan of this thing. Battery life is legit too. They rated it 30 hours and they did that testing with, I believe, 60% volume, which honestly is really all you're gonna need out of these most of the time. You do get quick charge here too, so you'll get 3 hours with 10 minutes to charge. Okay, sound quality, and it's bold statement time. The Panda is the best sounding commuter Bluetooth headphone out there, period. Better than Bose, better than Sony, better than Bayer Dynamic. And I feel totally comfortable making that statement because I use the Sonys and the Bayers all day when I'm working in here filming so I can take calls while I'm working. The biggest thing that rubs me about those headphones is the bass. It's too much. It's bloated, it's boomy, it's fake sounding. Until now, the Bayer Dynamic Lagoon ANC did the best job of handling this, but it's still there, and the highs can be a bit much at high volume. I haven't heard the Ananda BT, and it's been too long since I've had a Mobius for me to recall what that sounds like by memory, but of the big commuter headphones, The Panda beats them all. There's no question. There's no background either, like there's no hiss. If not for the little welcome tone, you couldn't even tell these things were on. As far as how they stack up against some of your high-end wired home gear, I feel like that's going to be more a matter of personal taste. These definitely have a character to them. I think they fall more on the fun side of fun versus analytic. The bass is there, sub bass is there, mid bass is really there. These are planars and they will act like it if you push them. Mids feel slightly recessed to me and the highs are clear and strong without being overly bright or demanding attention. These do two things really well for me: layering and detail. When you're listening to a band like The Best that have a lot of big 3-part vocal harmonies, you can hear the texture of each vocal as it comes in and starts to blend with the whole. The detail is crazy. You can hear long reverb tails, you can hear big trailing delays. I'll put it to you like this: if you've ever tried Bluetooth headphones before and convinced yourself that you can probably hear the difference between the quality and Bluetooth codecs, you can definitely hear the difference in the Panda. You will hear everything in a recording, so if there's something weird in there, that's going to come through as well. Disclosure here, these pre-production units don't have LDAC active yet. Sony still has to sign off on that. So I tested these with Tidal Hi-Fi and iPhone 11, and also aptX HD, courtesy of this little FiO M6. Bottom line is this: for me, these are incredibly enjoyable to listen to. They're warm, rich, and detailed. The first day I got them, I put them on, I thought, man, the clamping force is a little much right out of the box. Maybe I'll just wear them for like an hour. I wore them for 5 hours. The only thing I can say about the sound that's potentially negative is that these don't feel really big. The soundstage feels like it's here as opposed to like here. And due to the lack of DSP at present moment, that also means there's no kind of EQ adjustment of any sort for these, so just know that going in. It's worth noting here too that they sound practically identical when you use them wired. Doing so completely bypasses the internal amp, so it's pretty cool that if you get into the habit of listening to them on your stack at your desk, and then you get up and go somewhere, it's not like you're really sacrificing anything. So if you're watching this, it means you can start ordering these. I'll put a link down in the description. These will be sold via Indiegogo, and I don't want to take any stabs at shipping at this point, but I do hear there will be early price reductions for these. Full disclosure too, Drop did bring me out to San Francisco to the listening event, where I got to interact not only with the designer at Drop, but also the guys from THX as well. I can tell you I had a really good time, and I really appreciate the hospitality, but it didn't do anything to impact this review in any way, and nobody suggested that I highlight any features or impact what I had to say about these whatsoever. It was nice too, because I've had 2 of these units in my possession at different times, and I also heard a couple of the display units that were out during the event, and they're all very consistent. End of the day, I own both the Lagoon ANC and the Sony WH-1000 XM3s, and I would have no problem selling either or both of those units to pick up one of these when they go live. My least favorite part about these headphones by far was the fact that I had to give them back when the review was complete. Can't win them all. Links down in the description. Questions, hit me in the comments or swing by the Drop discussion pages for these. I'll leave a link there for that as well. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.